Hello, Brandon Ramacco here, and I'm here to do a review of this D3 Ultra handheld double-ended ultrasound probe. And I'm going to tell you my experiences. I've been using it since about November or December, and I'm going to be comparing it to my Clarius. I'm a musculoskeletal sonographer, and I already had an ultrasound unit, so you might wonder why I bought a second one. Well, one, I'm also an educator, so I wanted to get some more information. Are these Chinese ultrasounds any good? Because this is part of the newer generation. The old generation of Chinese handheld ultrasounds were typically 128 elements, maybe sometimes 196 elements, but typically 128 elements and 32 channels, and this is 196 elements and 64 channels. Now, and what it also does is it also allows me to expand what I can do. So this Clarius is great for superficial structures, but things like the hip, it's not so great. And this, because of the double-ended, I can now do, for example, I just had a baby born very recently, and as she was growing, I was able to look and watch her wave, and watch her hide her face, and watch her kick, which is so cool. And of course, I've practiced the emergency scans for fluid, like the EFAS exams and things like that, and things like checking for AAAs, abdominal aortic aneurysms. Which is a very easy thing to check, and now I have the capability to do so. So I'm happy I got this. And so anyway, I'm going to go through and I'm going to scan a number of structures one-to-one. For structures where this isn't good at, I'll just scan with this. Okay, it's now, the current name is the D3 Ultra, but they used to call it the D2H, and that's what it was called when I bought it. I was using a coupon code before for that price, but even so, the price has gone up. And that's the way things are. Prices go up, prices don't go down. So let's go through some of the specs for this unit. So if we go to detail here, right, we have a convex, linear, and phased. So how they do the phased or the sector probe is it's basically just part of the convex probe, right? You turn off the elements, left and right of center, and you just focus on some of the elements in the center of the curvilinear portion, and you can basically turn any curvilinear into a phased array or a sector probe. But keep in mind you're limiting your capabilities when you limit how many elements you are going to be using. So there are limitations to its phased mode or sector probe mode. It is nowhere close to as good as the convex or curvilinear mode, nowhere close to as good images. And in terms of the frequencies, they do have a typo here. The convex, it's 3.2 to I think 5 megahertz are the two settings. Linear is 7.5 or 10, and I think they have it correct for the phased array. And scanning depth, linear, it is 40 millimeters, whereas my Clarius is 50. And I do like the Clarius because it's a little bit more width to the image, but you get what you get. And of course, this has all the B mode, color Doppler, M mode, power Doppler, pulse wave Doppler, has all the modes you could want. As I mentioned, 192 elements, 64 channels. The measurements. Now, you have to be careful with your presets because not all presets give you access to all the measurements. But key measurements, really what you need to measure cross-sectional area, you need to measure, point to point or an angle. Definitely has those pretty much with any setting. You can take that type of measurement. So, and then in my mind, that's the most important stuff. Has puncture assist. I haven't used this myself. And to compare with the Clarius, you don't need a subscription for using this, and you get basically all the settings, everything available to you without a subscription. But and you have more control. The Clarius is auto everything. You don't have control over, for example, your focus points. And here you do have control over your focus points. Here you do have control of your frequency. So I have more control. But there's set values. I can't set the frequency to everything I want. It's only the two presets. The focus, you just press the focus and it cycles through pre-selected focus points. So you can't move the focus to exactly where you want. So there are limitations to how you can adjust the image. But that being said, you can adjust the image, which is nice. And this is great. You can export the images in basically all the formats that you can need, including DICOM without a subscription, which is nice. The battery lasts longer than the Clarius. It'll last weeks without me charging if I'm not using it much, and it'll last probably a couple hours of use. Yeah, continuous scanning time, about 2 hours. Yeah, that seems about right. The Clarius dies after about maybe 45 minutes, 30 minutes. This does not get as hot, and it does seem to last longer. Not forever, but it does last longer. Wireless charger, that is true. I haven't been able to find the app for Windows. I wish I could find it for Windows, but we have the Android, and I use the Android app, and I'll comment about how it works, and you can just find it on the Android store. I assume the same for the iOS store. This is Wi-Fi connected, and it's extremely fast to connect and get going. So fast to connect and get going. In fact, just off screen, I looked at my video of me using this, and I counted it's exactly 20 seconds from turning it on to starting to being able to use it. So that's how fast it is to be able to use this. It's Wi-Fi. Clarius requires Bluetooth at the same time. This is just Wi-Fi. There are, it's sealed, so there's no cable, so you can't connect this by cable. Some people consider that a pro or con. The fact that there's no cables means this is entirely sealed. There's no opening for you to get water inside. So I consider that probably a pro. With a long battery life, I consider it pretty good. It is a little tricky to hold, I must say, and the button placement being asymmetric makes one way of holding it much better than the other. Okay, yeah, dimensions, it's 263 grams. So even though it's a double-ended probe, it's about the same weight as the Clarius. Yeah, it's about the same weight. I don't consider this too much weight. Again, the awkwardness comes with the button placement if you want to pause or freeze the image. It's a little tricky to press the button. So I do find, whereas the Clarius, I can press the button just fine. With this, I need to have my tablet close by to use the freeze on the screen, or my phone close by to use the freeze on the screen, because sometimes the button is just too awkward to press. And your hands can get slippery with gel, and I'm getting better at using the button. And if you're using the curvilinear side, the button is perfectly placed. Right, so because it's right next to there, so your hand is right there. But if you're working on this side, now it's way up there, and so your hand is down here. It's just not ideal. And storage, it stores the images locally, and then you can take the images. There is one type of image, which again, I've mentioned the app is a little buggy so split screen images. You try to take a picture of a split screen image and it doesn't save. So I end up having to print screen all the other pictures, save fine to local storage. Unlike the Clarius, where if you don't pay the subscription, you can't even save the images locally. Which is just crazy to me. What's in the package? You tell them what type of plug you want. So you get the plug, you get a charger, you get the unit, you get a little quick start guide, and away you go. And you download the app and you start using it. So you can see this price here, $2,660. That's different from the $2,800. There's always a discount of some sort. There's always a coupon code where, it says auto 5% off at checkout. Sometimes it says, 10% coupon code used now. So keep an eye out for coupon codes. They do have some sample images here, but again, I'm going to go through a whole bunch of sample structures on myself and sort of also compare side by side with the Clarius, so you can see. But these are fairly representative of what you can see. Notice there's not a lot of tendons here, because I find tendons without compound imaging, tendons are really hard to nail down or to get a nice picture of. So they picked structures that you can get a nice image of. The cartilage, the liver, right? The arteries. It's a really easy to image structures, and they always look really nice. So this is a little misleading, but you'll see real world what it can do. Let's go through what they say here. As I meant, built-in remote Wi-Fi connectivity. Yep, you just start it up. You open the app. You then, from the app, you click a little button there, and you connect it to the unit's Wi-Fi, and away you go. You start scanning. I'll tell you, there are ways of doing this wrong though. The app is a little bit buggy that everything just basically locks up. Again, I'll cover under what conditions that happens and how to fix it if it does happen, because one time I had to delete the app, re-download it, delete it, re-download it. You use the transducer with a different tablet, a different phone, just to try to get the start to work again. So I don't want you to run into that headache. It does have all these presets, and as I mentioned, sometimes there's different measurements within the presets. And the presets, it tells you all the settings that's using. Now, aside from the measurement differences, you can make any preset. You can press all these buttons to change from any preset to basically anything you want, right? Because you have the control over everything that changes with the preset except for what measurements you have access to. That seems to be the only thing you're sort of stuck with. 5 scan modes with pulse wave up. As I mentioned, this has every mode that you could basically want. It's great. In terms of options, right? 27 on-screen measurements, as I've mentioned. Not all of them are available in all presets. One-click freeze. Yeah, just press the button on the unit and it freezes, which is very convenient. You can press this button here to use split screen, which is just great for comparing with normal, or for comparing for normal and educating the patient about what's going on, or comparing one side to the other. I love split screen. As I mentioned, you can't save split screen with the app at the moment. Very long cinema clips. It's set for 100 frames here, but you can set this up to, I think, 1,000, which is super, super, super long, which is great. So, more features is good. More options is good. Again, I haven't used the puncture assist function. As I mentioned, it will do DICOM and local sort without subscription fees. So crazy that Clarius asks for a subscription just to save locally. But yeah, so in DICOM format as well, if you want. Again, you can put your notes in if you want. You can. You just have one box basically to add in your notes, and you can do that. As I mentioned, extra long cinema loops.